Hi, my name is Jay Deshary. I'm your buddy who's always up for one more lap. Welcome to the human-powered version of the Good Ride with my review of the Jones Mind Expander. Jones sent this to us in a 158. I've ridden this board a lot with my Nitro vertical bindings and my K2 Ender boots. So here's something interesting. About 2 years ago, when Jones finally put camber in the Mind Expander, I had a friend who basically let me try their board for the day in a 154. I gotta say, wasn't a fan at all. Board was floppy, it tracked the ground well, but it felt unsecure at speed. It didn't really float that great for what it was. I just wasn't a fan, and to be blunt, I wasn't really looking forward to riding this. Put this into a 158, everything changed. In fact, Jones sent us a bunch of boards to review, and I had the chance to go on a 3-day tour up into Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams, and Mount Hood, and I actually took the Mind Expander. It wound up being an incredibly versatile weapon for the Pacific Northwest, and I would say this is the board I'm picking most often. I actually put over 35,000 feet on this board in the time that I had it, and it is just an absolute amazing machine for the Northwest.
And as you know, we put out honest, objective, unbiased reviews without any brand oversight, and we can do that thanks to the support of shops like Blauer Board Shop out of Big Bear. They have a strong presence in Big Bear and an even stronger presence online. They're not huge, but they have a wide variety of stuff in stock. So if you want to support the Good Ride and keep objective reviews flowing, check out Blauer Board Shop, click through our links, and see if something works for you there.
Let's see if we can expand our mind into flex. So looking at this board from the whole perspective, right? This is a very progressive ramp up, right? From a soft nose through a medium-ish middle up into a medium-ish to maybe borderline medium stiff tail, but that's not a detriment. Okay, so looking up front, we start out with a very, very soft nose. This is obviously a board borderlining on a soft snow pow chasing machine, and the nose is quite soft. Now, while the nose is quite soft, the reality is it doesn't really transmit that back to underfoot. So if you look at our underfoot flex, right, we've definitely got a solid medium flex. And again, the chatter from the nose, I found did not really resonate back underfoot. And going back to the tail, right, it's again, not super stiff. It's on that medium stiff aspect. But one of the things I liked is really kind of tight, committed must-do steep chute turns. It's really easy to get through tight turn, almost jump turny type terrain and get that edge set for control. So of course, we have Jones' amazing hardware, right? We've got up front Karakorum clips back up the nose and also back in the tail. They keep this board united, solid. These clips combined with a disrupted side cut and inner edge make this board ride more like a solid than any other split you ever tried. If you're somebody who constantly feels the board edges wiggling back and apart, get yourself on a Jones with disrupted side cut on the inside. It's a game changer. Taking this board apart, we got a detension on our nose and our tail clips. Open, open, and you're split apart. So how does the Mind Expander climb on the up track? Again, you're looking at mostly medium board width. Even though this nose is nice and wide and this board has a decent amount of taper, what I found was it was pretty easy to get weight over my inside or outside edges, depending on the side hilling aspects I'm on. And that early rise in the nose made this thing just an absolute no-brainer for breaking trail. I had no problems at all taking this board, which is definitely more marketed as a soft snow bias, into major alpine missions, and didn't regret it one bit. Again, you're gonna notice a medium to medium soft overall flex underfoot on the uphill. By the time you separate this off, it's not gonna give you spring out of step, but it doesn't feel dead. It's nice, easy, smooth, efficient climbing. And that's one of the great things about this board. It just goes away. It lets you do your job, get up the up track, and have a blast. Come with this board, we've got obviously a wider nose, got lots of spoon. We have a kind of a set back camber profile. So again, a little spring out of the step on the way up, but not a ton. I'd say it's efficient E feeling, not the most efficient, not a mountaineering weapon, but it just is really, I'd say, simple. It doesn't take a lot of attention from you. And I'd say, when you want to make the day about exploring the terrain, exploring with your friends, and less about the equipment, this thing just sort of goes away, right? And I think that's one of the highest compliments you can make to anything that really works well, is that you don't think about it. And that's just how I felt on this board. On Mount Adams, we had the top 2,500 feet was what I call corrugated steel snow. It was the worst conditions I've ever experienced. Yes, the board was chattering like crazy and bouncing around, but so was everyone else. And I didn't lose an edge once, and I felt tremendously in control, and it was still doable. And when we got down to the corn and the chutes below, it was unbelievable. So again, this thing has a really nice flex personality that soaks up a lot of the chatter you're going to encounter while still floating amazing well when you do find the good snow that we're all searching for. Talking about the tail of this board, it's pretty interesting. It's not necessarily on the shorter side. It's actually a bit long for more of a powder focused board, but I really like the flex of it. When you've got those kind of must-make turns and some steep chutes, you can pivot off a tail really nicely. Some of the firmer boards, you almost have to really weight your back foot to aggressively pivot. This thing, it flexes just enough to let the rear end smear around and again, set your edge for good control. I was very much a fan of this. While it's not quite as technical as a Jones solution, it does hold its own really, really well. It's not going to leave you sketched out or looking for more edge purchase. When it comes to base glide, there's an 8000 series base. Again, I'm a big fan of simple black bases. Some cool graphics down here, but I would say that this board doesn't glide quite as well as a 9000 series bases and some of the Jones other boards, but it's head and shoulders above the rest of the class, and it's not like you're gonna get stuck on runouts with your friends who are gonna be on a higher glide board. It glides just fine. Keep it waxed, you're gonna be in great shape. Again, I would say this board turned out to be very interesting for me. Again, the 154 I tried that seemed overly flexy, unstable, didn't float that great. It seemed to be a jack of all trades in kind of the worst way. Upsizing a 158, I'd say a jack of all trades, a much better way. Again, I'm 165 and about 5'7", so not a big person, but I found going up definitely made this board really come alive for me. Again, the best things in the world just disappear and let you do what you want. You want to go out there and have some great experiences, have great times with your friends in the mountains. This board's going to let you do just that.